It's the most wonderful time of the year. Minky Couture's holiday season is here. Wrap your loved ones in the gift of luxury with our softest, coziest blankets ever. Perfect for movie nights, chilly mornings, or those magical Christmas Eve moments. From kids to grandparents, there's a Minky for everyone. Shop our exclusive holiday collection now, in-store or online at minkycouture.com. But hurry, Santa's favorites won't last long. Minky Couture, making your holidays merry, bright, and oh so cozy.
Coming to you live from the Elliott Avenue Studios, this is The Barber Shop. Brought to you by Trufant Auto Detail, the official auto detail provider of the Seattle Seahawks. And by the Trufant Family Foundation, an organization aimed at improving the community one kid at a time. With Marcus Trufant, here's T. Holla.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Terry Holloman, a.k.a. T. Holla.
What's up, y'all? It's Marcus Trufant here, a.k.a. True, the Ghost.
Yeah, the Ghost. When you come with the Ghost, man, that's brand new.
Man, I that's the first thing I thought of. I stole that from Power, of course. Ghost and the Beyonce the shenanigans that just came to my mind real quick.
We're going to have to get into that another day because that is definitely some hot news that's going on in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you're not out there kissing other significant others in the mouth, or you're looking for trouble. But we'll talk about that another day. It's the Barbershop Show. Marcus Trufant, T. Holla. We got super producer Reese in the building, and it's been a while, True, since we've been in here, man. How you feel being back behind the microphone?
I'm feeling lovely. I'm feeling great. I'm blessed. Family, friends, kids, business, all of the above, man. It's been good. I try to keep the circle tight. You know, this world is crazy. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on every day, but I try to keep me and mine tight, man, and that's how I get down.
Man, listen, since you're talking about you and yours, man, again, it's been a long time since we've been behind the mic. We've been away for a little while. I've been taking care of my little family. You've been doing your thing with your family and your other outside ventures as well. But I have noticed that, it's been a long winter, man. It's been one hell of a long winter, man. It feels like, Seattle had the worst winter it's had in a long time. I feel like my kids were out of school for like 2 to 3, maybe 4 years, it seems like, man. And I don't know what your situation was like at your house during that winter, that horrendous winter break we had.
It was rough, man. It was rough. But when you got kids and it kind of reverses. I know as a young man, I used to love when you wake up in the morning and you see at the bottom of the screen that school is canceled or
just looking for your school.
Yeah. Or that the school is delayed. But now I got my own and I got 5, of course. So it turns into a work day, of course. So
a hell of a work day. It's not just even a little work day.
Yeah.
At least at my house. My house turned into the spot.
Right.
Over this winter holidays, man.
Yeah,
And I was not cool. And here's the thing. So there's a couple things to talk about this winter holidays real quick. Is my house turned into the spot where all the little kids like to walk and they bring their sleds and hang out from like sun up to sundown. And I'm stuck. I'm stuck at the house. My little car is like 6 inches off the ground, so I could not drive out of my driveway.
I got busy in my joint though. I got busy.
Did? What you was doing? What
got that 4-wheel drive, and I actually got snow tires because I'm a new professional snowboarder now.
Yes.
So I've been back and forth to the mountains, so I had to get that. So I was ready to go. Everybody else was stuck. Everybody was spin out on the side of the road. Not me.
And that's the next question I want to ask you about, man. Because, I spent a lot of time since I was stuck in my house on social media watching what everybody else was doing during the great
trolling.
I wasn't even trolling. I was just really observing, bro.
Right.
And I was really observing what everybody was doing during the great Snowmageddon in 2019. And I was watching Marcus Trufant and Mrs. Jessica Trufant, a.k.a. Fab 5 Mom.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys spend a lot of time up in the mountains, man, up on the hills. And you seem like you're getting the hang of it, man. What have you been doing up there?
Man, it's a little change up. My cousin and his wife, they kind of put us on. So, just to get involved with something different, man, and see something different that I normally wouldn't see, especially being from Tacoma, you kind of sheltered down there. I tell people I didn't really come up to Seattle until I got drafted up here. I didn't really know about anything that was going on up here.
And that's crazy.
Yeah, because
it used to be like that.
Yeah. So just to get up to the snow, man, a change of pace. We want to get our kids up there. Just let them see some different stuff, experience some different stuff that a lot of black people may not do. You know, I tell people I snowboard, and they're kind of like, you know,
And
are you sure?
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's
I
what
do
I was
it though.
getting.
I do it.
That's what I was trying to get at. You know, when I was seeing you guys doing it, I know there was not a lot of color up there, and you know, there's a lot of stereotypes about black people when it comes to snowing and snowboarding and skiing, and really just doing a lot of winter sports. But you look like you were getting pretty good and proficient at it. So, I mean, are you good at it? Or is it just something?
I'm good. I
Yeah,
mean, I feel like I'm good enough.
Hold on, man. Go ahead.
I'm good enough. I did one jump so far, so I was just telling Jess that, like, yeah, I mean, I think I'm almost tired of snowboarding. But then I talked to my cuz. He was like, okay, next is for us to start hitting these jumps and doing these tricks and stuff like that. So I'm gonna get me a little GoPro. I'm about to take my social media to the next level. I'm about to start doing these tricks, and next might be the X Games. I don't know. I see you laughing, Reese, but I don't know. I'm unsure.
You think you might go to the X Games?
Hey, you say it's a chance. I got a chance.
Straight to Shaun White. Straight to the Shaun White.
I got to tell you guys real quick, man. And you know, I spent a lot of time in my younger days up in Canada, and like I would lived in the real Canada, like deep Canada, not Vancouver. Like
Right.
Vancouver, you know, still West Coast. It's kind of like Seattle North. But I lived in Alberta, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where it gets 30 to 40 degrees below zero, where it actually snowed last night in Edmonton, Alberta. I checked in with some of the old school homies. And so if you're not doing some kind of winter sport, man, like skiing, snowboarding, hockey or something like that, you just stuck in the house, you'll be about 400-500 pounds. So I skied a little bit, right? But my little country ass coming up from Arkansas to Canada, I wasn't accustomed to it at first. So I was a little darky out on the hill coming down, and I have pictures of it somewhere. And I had on like isotoners, man, like some little thin gloves.
I
And
was hoping not.
And a members only jacket and some jeans. And,
Damn. I was hoping not jeans, man.
and some jeans.
At least put the warm up pants over the jeans,
No, man, that's how
because I can kind
of
of get that concept. You got the swishy sweats, and those are supposed to be waterproof. I seen somebody doing that. We did the sledding joint, inner tubing. I took the kids out there, and there was a whole family, and they had on these warm up sweats. Like that was really supposed to keep them dry, and they had their trip was short lived, and they had to get out of there.
They was mad. You know, before we get out of here off this topic, you know what I'm saying? I just like to, you know, show the people out there, our listeners, our people who haven't talked to in such a long time that, you know, it's not cool to stay stuck in these stereotypes and believe all these stereotypes, man, because we can move on beyond our borders.
Yes,
Marcus.
we can.
We can get out and do things that are not traditionally
Yes, we
associated
can.
with people of our hue, of our color, of our denomination. And I know that Reese, our producer over there, I'm sure you've been up on the hill doing some snow skiing and stuff, haven't you?
A little bit.
You telling a lie.
Inner tubing.
You
Nah, I
lied.
have.
Oh,
I've
he
been
said
up-
he inner tubing. You didn't do nothing
yeah.
on no skis
I
and no
was
boards.
not. No, sir.
None of that.
I tried once. There was a movie came out when I was in middle school, Johnny Tsunami. We all thought that we could snowboard super easy. And we all went out there and face planted. I ain't never been back on a snowboard yet.
Oh man,
I got you. I got you.
you gotta take him up there, True.
Yeah,
You know,
I'll
get him,
take you up
get him a
there,
little
man.
culture. Take him out there, get him on the board.
Crystal Mountain.
True told
Nice.
me earlier that he got a custom snowboard.
I did.
Well,
Well,
of course he does.
I mean, it's not custom. I got my own board though. Own boots. On goggles. On helmet. I'm ready to go, baby.
Super custom. though.
Hey, listen, guys, we haven't been back on the air in a while, and so we are just getting back here. We wanted to get back to the people, get back to you guys. You guys have been asking where we have been, what we've been up to, and so but we just wanted to get reaccustomed and reacquainted with you guys, let you know what's been happening in the life of T. Holla and what's happening with True. We are back at you, though, bringing you back all the hot stuff, everything that they're talking about in barbershops across the country, the conversations that we are having amongst ourselves that maybe we might not be having them at work, but we having them right here on this barbershop show. And tonight, as I was looking over the things I wanted to talk about, True, there was a common theme amongst everything, man. And I know we didn't plan it this way, but it's crazy. But the theme of tonight's show is money. For the love of money, man. Every topic I want to discuss with you tonight has to deal with money. And so you can't live without it. You can't, you know what I'm saying? They say it's the root of all evil, right?
That's what they say, and a lot of people said it.
So it must be true. Now let's talk right off the bat. It's rumors. Rumors about money, rumors about trade. When we're talking about the National Football League, we're talking about our own beloved Seahawks right here in our backyard. And this one is kind of far-fetched, in my opinion, but I think it deserves some conversation since so many people have been talking about it. Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson this offseason has been rumored to be traded to the New York Giants. And there's a lot of conversation, and it's coming from some relatively normally good sources, a.k.a. Colin Cowherd. He said that there was some rumors, some rumblings that Russell Wilson might be bartered up, traded up to the New York Giants for a couple of reasons. Now, I wanted to talk to you, Marcus, as our resident National Football League expert, the guy that spent 10 years in the locker room. When you hear stuff like that, Russell Wilson being traded to the New York Giants, what kind of things pop into your head right out the gate?
Well, you got to think about a guy like Russell Wilson and what he does and how he masterfully plays the media, plays the crowd, and plays the 12s. And it's not a bad thing, but the way Russ sets himself up to be this guy that could get all types of sponsorship, this guy that could go to any brand just because the way he carries himself, how he talks and everything he says, you think, okay, Russ wants to take it to the next level. Russ wants to go big time. Russ might want to go to New York or, kind of like King James going to the Lakers. You want to go to the Lakers, it's L.A., if you want to do stuff after football and you want to be big time. So, of course, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, of course he doesn't want to leave the 12s and the Hawks during his prime, but it could be something there. It might not be this year, but it was brought up, and usually there is a little bit of truth to some of these rumors, so I don't know. I don't know what to think.
Yeah, so here's my question. The thing that pops up into my head when it first was presented to me that Russell Wilson might be offered up as a trade or some kind of deal asking to be in New York City playing for the Giants. And it was, what really is there available for him in New York City that he can't do here? And let me explain what I'm talking about. Now, I understand that, New York is absolutely a bigger market for outside endeavors, things that people want to do. You have a whole entire entertainment industry. There's Broadway. There's all the advertisers and marketing, and it's a great business hub for international business. But you have to think about what Russell is really trying to do with his career outside of football. Is it not available to him here in Seattle as well? I mean, we live in basically a global world, a global society now where you could do anything from anywhere. Like, people are probably listening to us right now as far away as Dubai and far away as Saudi Arabia and Canada and all around the world because of the internet, because there's so many available opportunities that you could do stuff right here in Seattle and reach other markets. Why would he need to move to New York to do those type of things when he could be right here where he has his foundation set, where he has played an entire career, going on his 8th season? I don't see why he would need to move there.
I still think it's different, though, T. You talking about, I think when you say New York and you say L.A., they might, sprinkle in a little bit of Seattle, but there's clearly a difference. I think it's an obvious difference. I mean, if you're trying to look for that, if you're looking for more of the flash or you're looking for the media, of course the media is going to be all over New York. It's not really, well, there is no paparazzi out here.
Right. I mean, but there's a good and a bad to that, too. If you're someone who's in Russell Wilson's shoes, and I think you have to understand your wheelhouse, your millstone, where you make your money at, is playing football. Of course, you're going to want to do outside endeavors, but the main source of your income, the main career that you have is football. It's on the field. I think you want to be somewhere where you've really, where you cut your teeth at. I mean, where you grew up. Really, basically, you became a man here in Seattle. You've laid the foundation here. You've won a Super Bowl here. You've won an NFC championship here. You've gone to another Super Bowl here. You've broke all the records for the franchise as far as quarterback here. Why would you want to leave that? And when you could do it, I think about some of the other things that he's done off the field. You know what I'm saying? True. I know he does stuff with like the kids show, the Nickelodeon thing, where he gets the slime on his head every year. The
and he be dancing and doing like
exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't understand.
What year is this for Russ?
He's going into, I believe, his 8th season.
Okay, so 8th season. I would almost not blame Russ coming in the year, 10, 11, if you start looking outside of where you started your career, thinking about the future, because your career is only a short part of your life.
Right.
You still got a lot of living to do, and there's a lot of stuff that can be done after. You got to start thinking about that. So, he may want to go to New York, and he's married. He of course, has a wife that's in entertainment. She can't do exactly what she can do in New York or L.A. right here in Seattle. So that's something to think about, too. But I wouldn't blame him. You got to think about life after football, because once you leave, it was like you were never there. I can't remember who told me that, but once you leave the league, it's like you were never there.
Right. And a couple of things I want to talk to you about that. I definitely want to chime in on the Ciara connection, because his wife definitely is a star, and she has a career in the music and also film industry as well. And that probably would be a reason. And in fact, that's one of the things that I've heard, is that she is the catalyst for a lot of this conversation, that she wants to be in New York. She wants to be closer to the industry to make her career progress. And I know, Reese, you do a lot of work with musicians and artists, especially in this area. How about you chime in on what you think about this whole Russell Wilson moving to New York and being traded to the Giants to expand his career and his wife's career?
Well, I know just factually that they're not really as tied here as a lot of people think. They just built a house down in San Diego.
Right.
That's like fully staffed. Ciara.
Wait. Fully staffed. So they on that level. They have the staff.
They have an entire staff down there in San Diego at the house they just built down there. And so that might be like a post-retirement kind of thing, but it also might be getting Ciara closer to Epic Records, where she signed to. Because right. Epic, they moved from New York just a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I believe, and they made their base of operations in L.A. And so maybe the New York thing may not be a thing, but I can't see him playing for any LA team either, but I wouldn't be surprised if he weren't re-signed with the Hawks. And he's got
He's got another year on his contract. So, and here's the thing about that as well. I want to dip back into that Ciara in a second, but since you segue to that, talking about his contract, he does have another year on his contract that he signed, and it's not a punk contract, man. The guy's made basically $90 million over the last.
He's got 17 mil owed to him this next season.
Yeah, so he's not hurting in that arena. You know what I'm saying? And I know that just based on what he's done over the past 5-6 years in Seattle, he's gonna want to be the highest paid quarterback in the league, and he's gonna make probably $34-35 million a year. That's what he's gonna be looking to make. But he does have another year on the contract, and after that, Marcus, you know how this thing works. After that is up and done, they can franchise him. Mm-hmm. They can put the franchise tag on him. And I don't know how many of our listeners are really aware of what the franchise tag works like. But True, you got the franchise tag at one point, didn't you?
I got it for a quick minute, but I did get my contract done.
So they didn't want to dispute with you for too long, huh?
Nah, well, they probably didn't want to pay me that big money for too long either. Because like the great Walt Jones, I think he was franchised for about 4 or 5 years. As
consecutive.
Year after year. But, I think going back to Russ, I know the Seahawks don't want him to go anywhere, and Russ obviously probably doesn't want to go anywhere. He's had great success out here, but he is thinking forward, and I think that's a good thing. If he's thinking forward and, exploring things outside of Seattle, I think that's what he should be doing, because like I said, the NFL, of course, he's been playing for 8, but you said he's going into year 8, right?
Right.
Okay, yeah. So he's been playing for long enough, but there's a lot of life after football, so why not get set up now?
I hear you.
Man, have a plan.
Again, I hear you 100% on that, but my thing is, I know that we are now living in a global society, man. I know that you could do what Russ probably wants to do and live anywhere in the world. And I think, like you said,
I disagree.
I know you want to
totally disagree.
I don't.
Reese, explain it. Explain it to True real quick.
I feel like he'll be a lifetime Seahawk. The reason I say that is because they invested in the baseball team. He and Sierra down in Portland,
Right.
He's fresh off the heels of what's my man's name in Minnesota, the quarterback, Kirk Cousins. Kirk just got 84 fully guaranteed.
Right.
Fully guaranteed. It wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility to see Russ get fully guaranteed 4 years, say maybe 115.
Right.
Four for 115, just for another 4 years to kind of ride it out. Fully guaranteed though.
Yeah.
And again, they have the San Diego house. They can go down there. I'm pretty sure Sierra still has property in New York again.
She
can
could
go
be
back and
anywhere.
forth.
I've seen them riding around the city
He
with
plays,
New York plates on the car, so I know I know they are
He
tripping.
plays was it what's the league before the season actually starts? Something for
the Cactus League or
whatever
the
it is,
Grapefruit
but that's
League,
for the Yankees,
baseball.
right?
Yeah.
So I feel like he'll always have New York ties, but I feel like he won't. He's not going to be in the league as long as someone like Peyton Manning or Drew Brees or some of these other guys, who are 37, 38 to 40 playing ball. I think he wants to get out.
I said that I disagreed with the comment T made that said that Russell could be anywhere on earth and he could do the same thing.
I think he can.
That you can do from LA and New York. I don't agree with that.
Can he afford a plane ticket?
He can afford a plane ticket, but it's not the same.
He can get on a plane, a train, a bus, or
and you hear
automobile,
about people
whatever.
moving to these places to.
Well, let me say this as well. The industry's changing. Like the Seahawks have literally changed the industry, say even for film here. Like they just announced an initiative that if you have at least $1 million in spending money on a budget for a film here in the state of Washington, they'll give you an additional 35% of whatever your total budget is. So
I wonder why they're doing it, because nobody wants to do it here, and they go into L.A. and New York to do it,
they're
right?
going to LA and New York to do it,
right?
This is an
But that's
emerging
what I'm
market.
saying.
It's cheaper to do it here.
That's what I'm saying. So they're changing the industry,
and there's so many outlets. Believe it or not, there's a lot of outlets here. Like
Amazon.
There's nothing wrong with Seattle. Yeah, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying in most cases when people want to go and do
Of course, yeah.
I get
the thing,
but that's
I know what you mean.
Here's what I'm saying to that. I get that part.
Right.
But usually when people go to New York or Los Angeles to do that thing, to get on a bus, they have a bus ticket and $35 in their pocket.
Right.
That's usually the reason why they do it, because they are struggling artists trying to make it. Russ doesn't have that problem. People should be beating down Russ's door. These advertisers and these marketers and these businesses should be beating down his door.
But to True's point, there's not a lot of executives in entertainment that live here and want to invest in the artists and stuff here.
I say that it'd be easier if he was in those.
It will be. But they're
spots.
changing life for Russell Wilson here.
Here's the question I want to go back to now, and I kind of want to end it on this subject, and it's the whole Sierra angle. And I understand that that's her wheelhouse. This is her bread and butter. This is how she made her living, and she's actually having kind of a resurgence. I understand that she's had like a song that's out now that's
And it's
like
not
getting
kinda,
crazy
yeah.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the question is, we look at Russ and his demeanor. And
What does that mean, Terry? What are you
I'm
saying?
gonna get into it, and
Right.
I hope we don't get into too much trouble about it. But all the respect in the world to that man, and I have a lot of respect for Russell. He's a great, not just a great football player. He's a great father. He's a great husband. He, it appears that he really loves and cares for Sierra a great deal. Man, he shows her the ultimate respect. But and I'm just going on what I hear people talking about there in the streets. You know what I'm saying? It's like, Russ might not be like the most hardcore dude, and maybe he might be, just succumbing to some of Sierra's wishes and
Just say happy wife, happy life.
I mean, I
That's
was
all you
getting
have
to
to
that
say.
point, but that's why I wanted to get your input on that, because some people might say that about some people like Russ. I didn't. I'm not saying that, Russ.
Hey, the people out there, especially married folks, the married men, they can act as tough as they want. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, it's when it comes to their wife, they can put up a fight. But at the end of the day, and I don't even like to say that. I don't like to say at the end of the day, you gonna try to make your wife happy. I know you want to put your foot down. You want to do this and do that. I don't have a problem with Russ on how he is. If people say maybe he's fake or he's being corny or whatever, I think it's just him and he's being authentic, and that's how he is. And I have no problem with that. It's positive, and he's setting himself up for the future. Branding.
You did say future.
And stop it.
Okay, bro.
Setting himself up for the brand to move on and do great things, and I think that's
Flag on the play.
cool. Of course, I got no problem with anything Russ is doing. So if you hating on him, hey, you just hating just to hate.
Yeah, I agree, man. And happy life, happy wife. It comes to a point where you do have to, I mean, we young men, all
compromise.
talk all
It's a
that stuff.
compromise. That's
It is
what
a
I'm trying to
compromise.
say.
And they're building a business, they're building a brand, they're building a family outside of that. So, I think, if that's what it is, I ain't gonna say all that, man. I ain't gonna but it is. I guess it is,
You
man.
think you tough, T?
No,
No.
I guess another thing would be that he could play ball anywhere, and maybe she can't have the success in her career that she may
She's
want
going
anywhere.
That's the thing, though. If she's a singer and entertainer, she's going to travel around the world anyway.
But
So
that doesn't mean she'll be successful.
They're
though.
tied together, though.
that's
Everything
an
they do, and what you just said earlier, T, that anywhere on the earth, if you want to do this, you want to do that, she could go to.
Maybe not for music though.
Maybe not for football, though. So listen, and again, here we go. I'm going to jump off topic so we get back and move on. But if you're playing football for the Seattle Seahawks, we have proven over the last 7, 8, 9 seasons that this is a winning program. These guys have got the formula, they got the recipe. They've been in the championship, the NFC Championship contention every year. They've been to the Super Bowl 2 years back to back. They have the great coaching staff. They have a great, the whole environment here in Seattle. Marcus, you can speak to this, man. You told me, I don't know, 100 times that when you got traded in your last year, that you was like, people at the Seahawks are spoiled, man.
Night and day. The grass ain't always greener, and I will leave it at that.
It's rough around.
Right.
I mean, they have the Seattle Seahawks have a great facility, great training, great everything here. And, and you go send Russell to New York where they just traded away their superstar player, like the number one player on their roster, OBJ. He's out of there. Who's Russ going to throw the ball to? Who's going to protect Russ? You got Eli Manning that's been there for the last, his entire career, and he's been getting shell-shocked. Does Russ want that treatment?
Well,
I don't know.
It is interesting to say that they just went on record to say that they may not draft a quarterback this year. And Russ is on, they said, and they might extend Eli another year too. So by the time Russ may land there, he might be running the show.
It could be interesting, man. I tell you what, we will stay tuned and watch this as it progresses. And whatever happens, man. Like I said, I think Russ is a great guy. I think Sierra is an incredible woman. True, you know how I feel about Sierra. She's great. And she's great, man. Hey, listen, I got to tell you a story though before we get off here real quick. It just reminds me of Russell Wilson, and people give him a hard time about being. Let's just be 100%. We keep it 100 here in the shot, right? They say, and I'm not one of the people, but they say Russ is soft. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of timid.
He's a nice guy. It's not wrong with being a nice guy. Everybody want to play tough, so I don't like that.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And this goes to the point of the story that I'm talking about. And I wonder if Russ is like this. When I was in high school in Texas, I had a young man that was on my team by the name of Curtis Jackson. And
50?
Not 50, close, but close. He was a running back on my football team, and so he was known as a notorious nice guy, quiet guy, never got into trouble, straight A's, good football player, great athlete, never any trouble. Me on the other hand, I was always in trouble, and I thought I was tough. You know what I'm saying? I thought I was bad too. But me and Curtis was cool. So one day we were hanging out at my house. And I like, me, man, I like to joke around a lot, right? I'm playing around with Curtis. And I can't remember what happened, but I put my finger in his face. And he was like, gee, don't do that no more, man. I was like, what you gonna do, Curtis? What you gonna do? You soft. You soft. He's a nice kid, right? Curtis put me in the coldest chokehold, man, that I've ever been in my whole life. And I could not escape. Like, he laid me down on the ground. And I'm telling this to, say, that don't believe the nice guy is always the nice guy, man. They have a button, and they can flip on you real quick. So, man, be careful what you say about Russ, man. He might catch you in the street, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
It's a thin line.
Between love and
It's
hate.
a thin line.
Since we've been talking about money and contracts, True, I want to talk to you about this baseball contract that just went down a couple of weeks ago. Mike Trout from the Anaheim Angels became the highest paid athlete in North America in the history of sports. This young man just signed a 12-year, $426.5 million contract. True, 400. Those kind of numbers almost are ridiculous to me, man. $426.5 million extension, again, making him the most wealthiest athlete in the entire world, man. When I see stuff like that, True, it makes me want to ask the question to someone like you who has played football at the highest level. Do you wish you played baseball? At some point in time, do you wish you had figured that game out?
You know, you can never go back, but I played baseball.
Oh, where?
Actually, I thought
Like,
I was,
how far?
8th grade.
Oh, no, I didn't get that one.
That's because, and you get with these coaches in high school, I want all the football players to run track and et cetera, but I was a pretty good leadoff hitter. I would never hit a home run, but I always got on base. I used to steal bases, I was an athlete on the baseball field. But I say that to say that, of course you can't take it back, but my son, if I could nudge him in any direction, I like to nudge him in baseball, and but it's one of those things. I guess I have to build a batting cage in the backyard or do something like that because it's one of those things you really got to practice at. I think you got to start early.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I
baseball.
played baseball t-ball when I was young, like till first grade, right?
Oh well, you didn't play.
Well, that's what I know. I'm not even trying to be like you.
Did you say until first grade?
Yeah, I want you to understand this when I say this.
T-ball, though. He kind of snuck T-ball in there.
He gonna count preschool too.
Yeah,
preschool,
I might.
Kindergarten.
I am, and I'm gonna tell you why, and I'm gonna explain this to you. And then, True talked about he was the leadoff hitter, and he said he was good. And
I was good,
and all that crap. Right?
Yeah.
So I was good too. I was the best on my squad, and let me explain to you why. So you in first grade, right? And you hit the ball. Everybody that's out there in the outfield, guess what they cannot do?
Catch or throw. Okay.
So that's but you know what I could do real good? Yeah. Run. Yeah. I could run. So I run, I hit the ball, and I get to first base, and they finally catch the ball, and then they throw it, and nobody could catch it. So then I run to second. And so then they try to throw the ball to second, and nobody could catch it. Then I run to third, and I do all that, and I hit a home run every single time.
In the park?
In the park home run?
You never hit one out the park?
Every single time. Nope.
Me
I didn't
either.
have to.
I never. First grade.
But
how do you even remember that?
Because I'm going to tell you why.
That don't count.
I'm going to tell you why I remember. Yeah, nah. Because the very next year, I was like, I'm balling. I'm baseball is my thing. I'm going and I signed up for this camp, right? It was this big major league camp, right? All the homies went to it. And I did not hit one ball. The entire camp. They were trying to underhand me the ball. They was doing all this crazy, and I couldn't hit the ball at all.
What happened?
I suck.
Yeah, that sophomore season slump?
I suck.
That 7th grade slump?
Come on.
I was not good at baseball. And in hindsight, I kind of wish I would have stuck with it. When you look at guys like Mike Trout, who was signed on for $426.5 million. And here's the thing, man. When I see stuff like that, that's just so amazing and incredible and unfathomable to me when I think, like, those numbers don't seem realistic to me. $426 million for 12 years. I mean, somebody worked it out. I can't even remember. They said it was like $40,000 per inning, like something ridiculous. Like,
it's like $38 a year.
Yeah, it is
crazy.
It is crazy. But I mean, do either one of you guys understand these baseball numbers? Because we look at all major league sports when we talk about baseball and football and basketball. Baseball is far and away the highest paid, and these guys get all of their money. They get every dime of that money. So how in the world do we have a sport where I know they call it America's favorite pastime, but if you ask me and you ask the majority of people, I think, not just in my circle or not just in your circle, but around the country, that more people watch football, that more people are more engaged in football than they are baseball. How in the world do these guys make so much money? And I kind of got an idea, but I want to hear from you guys.
I'll just straight up say, I don't know. I've been told that it's because of the TV money or just because they play so many games. And you look in the stands at you go to a baseball games and majority of the games are empty until you get into the playoffs and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I don't get it. But they are sure getting paid well. And it's one of those things I think the NFL should take notes. And we should, I guess, try to steal some of these secrets and see how we can kind of gravitate a little bit more to what baseball is doing. I know because football is a contact sport, of course, it's a little bit different, or I guess a lot different, but there has to be something somewhere that we can get more guarantees from these contracts. I know they're starting to get it with some of the quarterbacks, like you talked about earlier, Reese. But I don't know, brother. I wish I knew.
It's crazy to be.
Well, I could say a couple of different factors. I mean, merch plays a part in it. Like we all have baseball hats, right?
Yeah.
Everybody.
Not that much.
I mean, like 400
yeah.
million.
Well, listen. I break it down. Like
Ain't that many damn hats going in the stadium?
They got these
I'll
gold
say
plated
that.
hats.
Because look, there was a point in time where I owned probably 20 hats from different teams, and probably only one mayor in this hat, right? My coworkers just went to the game the other day. One of my coworkers said he started to buy a jersey, and the jersey cost $275
In the stadium?
in the stadium.
Damn.
Right? And then you think about the TV contracts. I mean, what Turner Sports Network did, in the 90s, having the Braves on all the time, the Yankees on all the time, stuff like that. These guys got to split that money. So there's a lot of money invested in baseball. Again, you're talking about 182 games a year, something like that. I mean, you think about 90 games that are home games, and people are buying the jerseys at that price. Again, jerseys, hats, other such, apparel, things like that. All that stuff adds up.
But should it be that big of a difference between, let's say, them and the National Football League?
Absolutely, because they're bringing in more money, and it's not
The
just
NFL has the same kind of. I would imagine the NFL probably has the same or better television contracts.
Here's the thing, though. But like I said, you start talking about merch, right?
Right.
Baseball hats cost $35 a piece.
But if you buy, if I buy a Seahawks hat, guess what? That's going to cost the same $35.
People aren't
too.
buying them like that, though. And you only got 8 home games a year, right, for football. When you think about 8 games times 90 games a year, we
need to talk to a baseball dude, I guess, that really knows, because this has to be a clear difference. It's one or two things, I guess, that's making a big difference. I don't know if it's owner percentage and of what they're taking,
I don't think the owners are making any less. But I mean, Roger Goodell making $40 million a year doesn't help the players at all.
Right, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. But that's probably not it. But I know it has to be something that,
But you want to know what's really crazy to me? And here's a thought I had earlier today, and this is just. I'm gonna ask both of you guys a straight up question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this guy, Mike Trout. Again, we've discussed it at nauseum here tonight. The wealthiest athlete in North America. $426.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
If he walked into the building right now, right through those doors, right behind you, would you know who he was?
No.
Absolutely not. No. Is that I don't know if that's a thing or not,
That's the thing, true.
But I respect the skill, but super stardom for somebody that's not I guess 100% baseball fan that's really into it like that. But there's people that are, and that would recognize him, and I guess there's less people that would recognize somebody like a Tom Brady or Russell Wilson. So I get what you're saying.
That goes right back to what we were talking about earlier with Russell Wilson having, to go somewhere else to extend his off the field presence, his off the field career. Is that I think Russell Wilson could walk into any mall in the United States of America and people would instantly recognize that's Russell Wilson. They would rush him for autographs. If Marshawn Lynch right now walked into any mall in America, they would know that's Marshawn Lynch, and we're going to mob him and rush him. I don't think Mike Trout would have that problem. And here's the thing. I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
All the more power to Mr. Trout for getting his money and being able to stay somewhat conspicuous and not be all out in the mix like that. Good for him.
I do want to say that taking a marketing class a couple years ago, they were talking about how the difference between the NBA and the NFL and why NFL players don't get endorsements like that. And it was because they wear helmets and people can't recognize them off the field. It's very interesting that you say that, by Mike Trout, because, again, this dude was on TV, 100 times a year in games. He doesn't have a helmet on at all. You can clearly see his face. And so I started to ask myself, is it more of a cultural thing as to why we don't recognize him? Because obviously he's worth the money. I mean, he's a 2-time MVP, 7-time All-Star. He's definitely got the
He does his
accolades.
thing.
Yeah. And so is it just a cultural thing as to why we don't recognize him? Because we're more tapped into football and basketball than we are into baseball. I'm just going to assume that.
I think we are to a greater extent not tuned in and not and out of that loop and out of that world. But I would honestly say that if you just took like a random poll of just random people in Seattle or from any major city, they probably wouldn't. unless they were just dialed in baseball fans. And I just personally in my endeavors, and I don't just necessarily stay, keep myself confined to one certain demographic. I hang out with everybody.
You do.
With
You do.
all kind of groups of people, man. And I just don't know if people would know him if they saw him.
I'll say this though, as far as our circle, as far as black people, we are kind of like the pop culture and kind of, kind of what's the new this and what's the new that, as far as social media and all that kind of stuff. So I think that even speaks more volumes to a man that plays baseball and is making this much money and nobody, I guess that I couldn't pick him out of a crowd, but I think it speaks volumes to him and everything that he's doing. And again, I always say that I respect the skill of baseball.
Of course.
I don't like to watch it as much, but it is entertaining, of course, come playoffs and all that kind of stuff. And maybe because there's so many games, and even the players, they be kind of just chilling out there. There's so many games they play, and they don't play all the time. A lot of people just chilling half the time. It's just one of those things. It's hard to get into it unless you're into it.
So many rules and
Right.
unwritten things that are
Numbers and a bunch of other
yeah.
stuff I don't understand. But
And
Can I make a quick point about the money real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So 430 million or 426, right? I pulled up an interesting stat here. They said had he been a California resident, that he would have pocketed less than half of that money. He would have only pocketed like 214 million
taxes?
Poor him.
after taxes and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But since he's considered a resident of New Jersey, he takes home a significantly more amount of money, like somewhere like the upwards of like 310 million after it's all said and done, because the state taxes in New Jersey are a lot less.
Right.
So I don't know if it was somebody on his team, it was one of his lawyers, was like, hey, you're in line for a huge contract. You need to not register as a California state resident.
Oh yeah.
He's got smart people on his team.
Yeah, there's somebody
Absolutely.
that's smart, and it makes me wonder about other big contracts as well.
Yeah.
Because, Kevin Durant lived in D.C. He's from D.C.
Right.
He plays for the Warriors now. Does he consider himself a
You get a house out there.
California resident?
Whichever, get you a little
DC
residence. Get you a P.O. box.
Just
right?
rent something.
I want to know after, in baseball, people getting these big contracts. I know we talk about it in the locker room, and we used to joke about it. Like after somebody got a big contract, sometimes people shut it down.
Shut what down? Shut what down?
Shut it down, and
you mean their play?
and your production goes down. You're not really into it. You never really hear much of that in baseball, unless I've missed it. But
you do hear about it.
It does come. It does happen somewhat. Yeah. But
you still got to keep paying.
You still got to pay.
You can't really cut them. You can't get rid of them.
Because
It's different.
they're fully guaranteed contracts.
Yep.
Right.
And here's the last thing I want to talk about on this subject when we talk about those contracts and how they are so much different than especially football, but again, every other major sport in America. I want to talk about one of the most iconic baseball players of all time. Definitely one of the Seattle icons. If you had to list who would be on Seattle's Mount Rushmore, this guy would definitely be on it. And I'm talking about Ken Griffey Jr. This is a guy who has not hit a baseball in major league play since 2010. Okay, think about that, guys. He has not hit a baseball, not played in a game since 2010. Do you know that? And he was playing for the Mariners at that time. He came back. He went to Cincinnati and then came back and finished his career here. Do you know that the Cincinnati Reds have been paying him $3.6 million every single year since 2010? And they will continue to pay him until 2024
Lee got a lot of money.
for doing
They got a lot
nothing.
of
That's a lot of
money.
old money too, I'm assuming. Like a lot of the owners come from like old money.
Yeah,
Still,
old
that's
money,
a crazy
new
business
money.
model. He's not even playing, and they're not getting any benefit.
Well, maybe he
right now.
Maybe he just had like whatever his last contract structured that way to
He
make
did.
sure that he had that financial windfall.
Everybody does that for the most part.
Yeah,
though,
I think.
right?
I think baseball has a way that they can structure contracts where they can pay you afterwards. I don't know how much the NFL has that set up where they can do that. I know they have the salary caps and things like that, and I think that's how Major League Baseball avoids some of that.
Because they don't. Well, they have a cap.
I mean, well, they can if they extend you out until 20 years past your playing day, they could avoid some of that because it's not put into that calendar year, that
I
contract
need to bring
year.
a white guy in here to
We
explain
really need
this.
a white
to
guy.
us.
Well, I would assume
Yeah.
that the NFL players don't want that, though. I mean, you think about the demographics, right? You think of just, again, going back to the culture, a lot of these guys that play in the NFL come from nothing, and a lot of guys that play baseball, because baseball is the money you have to pump. Baseball is a sport you got to put money into, like, your whole life. It costs to be a part of these clubs and things like that. Whereas football, not so much. We're starting to see that now.
Yeah.
But a lot of those guys have so many more people to depend on. Again, it's a cultural thing, right?
Right.
And so they want their money up front. I think with the new CBA that they'll have to sign in a couple
Some
years,
things are definitely going to change.
you'll see the start of that. And a lot more of these football players and basketball players are starting to come from a lot more affluent families. People who have already made it. You look at like the Steph Currys, whose dad played in the NBA before him, and like all these guys are now starting to make it, and now their kids are part of the league, football players included. But with baseball, it was always like you didn't really need much. You came from, these affluent families already. You obviously had to pay money to get to that top level anyway, so you don't really have, like Ken Griffey Jr., we talk about him, and his dad played in the league.
Right.
Like how many other people that are in baseball now, how many of their families played in the league before them?
It does cost a lot of money to play baseball as a kid,
Yeah.
and that's why a lot of these inner city kids are not playing it. And we have talked about it before, and I'm sure we're going to discuss it again in the future. True, it's definitely a hot topic, and I want to see some of these young inner city kids get some of them $300-400 million kind of contracts too. Man,
I agree.
So let's stay with it.
Shout out to Matt Fields, who went to Rainier Beach and played in the league.
Absolutely, do your thing. Hey, last but not least, I want to talk about this money subject, and this is something that's been a hot topic over the last couple of weeks. Wanted to get your guys' input on this situation. It was the big college admission scandal, and it's a situation where we've had some celebrities, we've had some uber wealthy business people, some people of influence and means who have been basically paying for their kids to get into college. And it really came to light when some Hollywood starlets, Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin. Felicity Huffman was the lady that was on Desperate Housewives, and I think she had another show that she's on right now, The American Crime. And Lori Loughlin, who was on Full House. She was Uncle Jesse's girlfriend. But they got into some major trouble. Well, there was a big sting where a lot of wealthy people were paying for their kids to get into college using college athletes' spots, using their requirements to get into college, basically saying like some of their kids are on the crew team or the soccer team. Water polo, yes, and then really paying money. And in one instance where they were paying, on one instance that I know of, paying people to take their college entrance exams for them. So, and we're talking about tens of thousands, of hundreds of thousands, and in some situations, I believe even millions of dollars for the kids just to go to college. True. Looking at this situation, man, and I know this is something that hasn't just happened.
Right.
This is something that they just got caught. This is maybe the first time they got caught, but it's been going on since forever. How do you feel about the situation when you look at other people that are basically paying for their kids to go to college, and not the admission, but paying for them to get into college?
Right. Well, I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked. I'm actually not even outraged when people have money or you have a certain status that you're able to do things, man. You
don't say.
I think it can be as simple as, you got a celebrity that comes to the club, or they get to cut the line and they could pay the bouncer and they get to do this. And that's at a lower level. So just think about that you got these relationships with people and that you're on TV every day and people want to do for you and they want to be a part of your circle. And I mean, the stuff is going to continue to go on. I think even after this sting and after this stuff went on, I think people are just going to get more careful and they're going to get more creative. But stuff like this is going to continue to happen because people are money hungry. It's always about money first. And if you have money and you have that type of personality and that's what you live by, then you're going to put the money up and you're going to put it to your advantage.
I hear what you're saying, but does any of that make it right? I mean,
it doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff that's not right, but I mean, that's just how it is, and I don't think it's going to change. So I don't think we should be outraged, and we shouldn't be upset. But I know we should be upset because they're taking away stuff from the kids that really need it, kids that are really in those situations, especially when you talk about scholarships and stuff like that. I think that's foul. But parents that are making donations and doing stuff like that, it's the same thing. It's kind of up in the same realm. If you're going to donate to a school and you want your name put up on the locker room or on the building, then it's the same thing. Of course, they're going to make it so your kids can get into the school if you're donating to the school and doing all that kind of stuff. So I kind of see it as the same thing.
Well, I look at it like this. Now just imagine. Now I'm saying some of these parents were spending $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 to get their kids into these respective
no parent
colleges.
paid less than $200,000.
Well, okay. Well, there we go. No parent paid less than $200,000. So let's start from that point. If you as a parent had $200,000, $300,000, $500,000, and your kid did not make the grade, was not eligible to get into any particular college, would you spend that money in order to get them in? I mean, I'm talking about you. I'm not even talking, some rhetorical question, not some, this is not some make-believe question. If you had $300,000 right now and your kid did not have the grade point to get into a college, would you pay that money to ensure that they could get in?
Illegally?
Illegally. Like I'm saying, like they don't have the grades. They can't get in.
Yes.
You would pay that right now for your kid to get into college.
You say you're supposed to do anything for your kids. So if there's a way for me to make, some type of thing that's going to fit the rules, of course, I don't want to go to jail because
you're on the watch list right now.
Yeah. No. Okay. I'm going to donate. I'm going to do this. You can say whatever.
Right.
But if that's what I have to do to help my child, that's what I'm going to do.
But is it really helping your kid, though? Because if your kids obviously don't have the grades in high school and you're paying this money, right?
Right.
Now you're out of this money. Because you're not talking about tuition at that point. You're talking about just paying to get them in this thing. And then whatever school they go to, now you have to pay tuition as well, right? And whatever else goes along with that. You're just enabling your kid. But I guess the upside
you're
to that
enabling, or you're going to let them fail versus enabling. If you have the $300K, and not to spoil your kids, but if you can bring your kids from out the dirt, that you don't want your kids to be on drugs, that you don't want your kids to go to jail. No.
That's the worst case, though.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying you don't want to see your kid go down. So
absolutely.
If you say, okay, I got this money, I'm going to pay this, I'm going to donate, I'm not going to bribe, I'm not going to cheat, I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to steal. But all this different stuff, if you could donate to the school and you can make this work, okay, kid, I want you to grow from this and I'm going to put you in the situation to succeed. I want to do that for my kid.
You know what? I hear you on that, because I think the flip side to that, what we see a lot of times is these kids take advantage of their parents' fortunes, right, or their trust funds or whatever, and they just burn the money out.
Some do and some don't. Some flip and they grow to be yeah. But it's some that win though. And as a parent, you would hope your kid is going to win. Every parent thinks their kid's a winner.
I guess it's our
you don't say.
Right, yeah.
I don't necessarily know if it's our job to get our kids to the finish line. I mean, there's got to be some work on your behalf or whatnot. But I do know that if you get them there, right, I got you in the door.
Right.
And I'll take care of your first year and you can stay at home, or I'll pay for you to live on campus or whatever.
But you still got to pay the $300K, and that's what T asked me if I would do it. And I said,
But what happens after that first year? What happens after that first year? They're like full independence. You pay that $300K and their first year tuition and their room and board, and you take care of all their food and all this other stuff, right?
You're hopeful as a parent that they get it.
But what if they don't? What if their grades aren't, up to par? Do you continue to pay that money? Do you pay their second year tuition?
As a parent, you might.
Or do you buy them a tutor, or they're paying other kids just do the work for them? And what happens at that point?
Here's one thing, and again, this is to add to the story. Now, one of the young ladies who got her college paid for, her admission paid for, I believe it was the young lady whose mother was on Full House, Laughlin. The young girl's name was Olivia.
Oh,
so, and again, take it with a grain of salt. This young lady has become sort of a social media superstar before she was even in college. She had appeared on some movies that her mom had done, and she had become sort of a personality online where she had like 1 million followers. And she had her mother pay for her to get into college, and she had come out and actually said online on video she don't give a damn about college. She just go there to party and drink and go to the tailgate parties.
Yep.
And she don't even care. She don't care about her grade point. She don't care about graduating. She don't care about none of that. And she took somebody's spot.
You guys outraged about that? About her not caring?
No, I don't.
If we're being honest,
I don't.
if we ask every college student that is in school right now, and whether that's a scholarship or they're paying, these most of the time are kids, and they're growing. You know.
Well, I guess the difference true would
Shit, I
be
was a
that a lot of
grown-ass
us
man.
didn't have the option to not go to class and just party and chill, and knowing that you come from that type of background where everything's provided for you. Because think about this, man. Like, okay, you went to school on scholarship, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there was still a level of, I guess, responsibility that you had to have. You still had to go past your classes, or you would not be eligible to play the sport you played.
Right.
Right. So you still got to put a little bit of work in. This young woman went online and said, "I'm not really sure how much class I'll attend, but I just want to party, and I'll definitely make the parties and this and that."
Right.
And then maybe you as an athlete at the time, like say you were in school, you're like, "Man, but I still got to go to class," and you were
Right.
on a full scholarship. Some of that has to outrage you to an extent, because you know the level of responsibility that you have as opposed to the level of responsibility that she's exhibiting. It's just not fair.
And she has taken someone's spot. She has taken someone's spot,
and she doesn't deserve it.
That doesn't deserve it, and she doesn't care. She has no plan on graduating. It's not important to her. Whereas somebody else may have been like, "Yeah, this is my life depends on this." Like, I mean,
yeah.
And here's the thing, and I'll say this. I'm gonna end this, and then I'm gonna let you say your thing. True is that. So let's flip to my personal story. Like, I know because I was an athlete and I got a scholarship. I was allowed entrance, and my grade point didn't have to be as high as somebody else who didn't play sports, right?
Right.
And that's just what it is. That's just the way the way it goes with college, right? And so if someone would have taken my spot because their parents paid $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, whatever, I'd have been stuck. I wouldn't have went to college. I'd have been on the street. There's no telling. My grade point wasn't good enough for me to get into college, to University of Washington. Fortunately for me, by the time I got to University of Washington, something clicked, and I figured out that, we have to do this school thing. I got an opportunity to make something of myself outside of football and in this classroom. I was able to graduate with a double major from the University of Washington, and what would have never happened if somebody else would have took my spot that didn't deserve it.
Well, let me say this
Like
to
deep
you.
on you right there.
Let me say this to you. I'm not going to go back on what I said. It's one of those things, man. Yeah, they're taking people's spot it out. And, of course, I want to be clear. I'm not saying it's right what the parents are doing, but I'm saying it's going to continue to happen. People of those type with that type of money to throw around, it's nothing to them, and I think it shows in their kids. They go online and they say stuff like that. It doesn't matter. I'm just here to party and do all that kind of stuff. So that's just like everything in the world. There's these people that run the world and have all this money that are doing things that are out of our control.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, these people are in big trouble. They're in big trouble.
And they need to go down. Yeah. They should go down.
The feds are on them, and they are all going down. It's going to be a lot of trouble for these people.
They're not really going to get in that much trouble, I don't think.
They're going to get in trouble, man. They're going to get made an example of. And I'll be
Are they
here
going to jail?
They're going to jail. They're going to pay some fine. I think somebody's going to do some jail time behind this, man.
You think so?
The feds, when the feds get on you like that, man, somebody going to jail.
Well,
If it's a white collar
they already
crime?
paid the way out of one
Yeah.
situation. You think they can?
That's what I'm saying, though.
I hear you.
Hey, we shall see, man.
That's exactly what I'm
We
saying.
shall see. We'll stay tuned in. And when it does happen, we'll bring it to you right here live on the Barbershop. Ladies and gentlemen, the Barbershop is back. We are in full effect. We're going to be doing this weekly. You guys can tune in and chime in and check us out. We are all over social media. You can check us at True. You always know our Twitter address.
I
think it is Barbershop Show _ You can find us on Twitter. You can find me at Terry Holloman, HOLLIMON at Twitter as well. True, where you at?
I'm at Marcus Trufant on Twitter and Marcus _ Trufant on Instagram. So
And of course, you can follow us on Facebook, the official Barbershop page.
Where it all started.
Yes, where it all started. Where all the crazy stuff goes down. But like I said, you will find us here again next week. So tune in. We're so glad to be back. Check in next week with the Barbershop.